Hi friends! Welcome to the horizontal edition, and we're gonna talk about all of the books I read in July. The reason why I decided to put this video on the YouTube and not on TikTok is because I tend to speak a lot. This is going to be a long format video, so its natural place was on YouTube. If June was a month of romance, then July was the month of romantasies. It's romance with some cute fantasy. First book I finished in July was The Matchmaker, which is a romance by Catherine Walsh. This is the last book I read by this author. I went down a rabbit hole. I read the entirety of everything I could find by her when I finished How to Write a Love Story, because that one, spotless, perfect. This one is probably my least favorite one. It kind of went downhill with each and every book that I tried by her, with the only exception being The One Night Stand. I actually really enjoyed that one. It's not that it's not enjoyable. We have an Irish village and a girl who's never left the village and never actually wants to. She works at a bar. She has always worked at a bar. And then a development happens in the Irish small village of like 20 people. And that development threatens their livelihood. It actually just ruins their lives on a daily basis. And she is trying to protest and also trying not to fall deeply in love with the guy in charge of the construction. I'm not gonna go too much into details into a book that I am not sure if I will recommend. This is a maybe. It's not that it's a bad book, it's just I loved a lot of her stuff way more. Nothing would have been ruined in my life if I had missed this one. Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan, a divorced mother of two who also is grieving the death of her mom. She lives in her hometown, comes across a cute guy in the dog park. Turns out the cute guy is her best friend's geeky brother, and they're starting to develop feelings and going on dates throughout the summer. This was my first Annabelle Monaghan book, which I really deeply was satisfied with. Helped it was an audio. I continued on and also tried and finished It's a Love Story. I kind of like this a little bit more. This is where she's trying to develop a movie, I want to say. He is the cinematographer. He's telling her that marketing-wise, the movie is not a good decision. She's trying to convince him he's wrong. They try to get a very popular celebrity to get attached to the movie in some way. And by trying to do so, they get closer and closer together, even though initially she absolutely hated him. I enjoyed this. I also did my reread of Witches Abroad by Terry Pratchett in July. I actually started in June, finished in July. I was in Germany, I was visiting my favorite castle, and I needed to visit my favorite witches as well. It's a tradition, it's a book connected to a place type of a situation, and I loved my experience. I started with the Kindle book because I was traveling, and finished with the audiobook version narrated by Indira Varma. I'm in love with this woman. She cannot do any wrong. I've already listened to her version of Tiffany Aching series, and I already knew her voice is like honey. So experiencing my favorite Terry Pratchett story with her voice just made the whole experience a new experience. It was really lovely. I enjoyed myself. Went on burger dates with this audiobook. Okay, let's talk about these two. I'm not gonna show them, it's too complicated, but I first read The Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch, which is book number 2 in the series, and then book number 3, The Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire. And because everything is in the title, I don't think you need too much more information about these books. I like to call it a romantasy version of a Hallmark movie. We live in the town, magic is real, there's lots of witches, demons are trying to steal souls and get intertwined with witches all of the time. The demon is a blondie here, and I have to say, I'm getting into my era of liking blonde MMCs. It is interesting. That book really helped. It was a funny one, lighthearted, you have to believe the delusion type of series with a lot of spice. It's 4 out of 5, I would say, for both of those. In this one, she is a 1,000-year-old vampire slash succubus trapped in a stone he accidentally buys on eBay. So now he's her master. They're kind of stuck together. They have to figure it out. These two, more enemies to lovers, they actually did fight in the previous book of the series, and now they're kind of forced to work together. This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me by Ilona Andrews. I think this is my first of her books. It's highly hyped on Book Talk, and I'm careful with it. Not always a good idea. Book Talk doesn't necessarily have its fingers on the pulse when it comes to fantasy, but I had a good experience with The Raven Scholar, so I thought I'm gonna give it another try. The story here. This is one of those we're trapped in our favorite fantasy series types of stories, which I am dipping my toes into. Not read too many of those. So I don't know how I feel about the overall plot structure of this. I liked the main character enough. She wakes up in her favorite grim dark fantasy series. I don't know if the series are grim dark. There's just some darkness into the series, but I'm not gonna jump the gun and say it's Joe Abercrombie or Game of Thrones type of dark. No. She wakes up there. She's trying to figure it out. There's romance and a lot of guys that either she likes or like her. High potential. I liked the characters well enough. I have only one bone to pick, and that is that the plot structure of this is that we go into her favorite fantasy series. She supposedly knows everything there is to know about the characters, the politics, the plot, like everything. However, she's mistaken on more than one occasion about characters. As if she's just skipped the character description. She does not know how certain characters looked. She gets it very wrong. And in connection to that, sometimes the big twists of the book are that something is not what she thought, or someone is not who she thought they are, and that is supposed to be this big revelation. And for her it is, but we, as the accompanying reader, we don't know. She just says, a little bit of a spoiler, I guess, but she just says, oh my god, I thought this was John, but it's actually Jack. We don't know who Jack is. We didn't read these books. You did. And so for us, that revelation has zero stakes. That was the only qualm I had with this. But I would consider continuing with the series, honestly, because it had potential. The Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love, and also the sequel, The Geographer's Map to Romance, love them. Love them. Favorites of the month and of the year so far. We have a world full of magic without any sort of logic. It changes things. In the first one, it affects birds. There's magical birds. And we have rivals to lovers, two people trying to catch a bird in order to get a tenure. It's a contest, and they're in it together almost the entire time. Geographers, however, are dealing with something different. When magic happens in a place, sometimes it changes it. So it changes the flora and fauna. It causes events, so to speak. These two, marriage of convenience, have been married for a while, not on speaking terms. Both have to go on this assignment, secretly in love with each other. It was just so good. It is comedy. It is adventure and romance. Spice level here, I would call it maybe 2 out of 5. You do know what's happening. It's not being detailedly described to you. It's a lot more of feelings and metaphors, but you still know what went where. Had a very good month, I'm not gonna lie, and continues on in August, but we're gonna talk about it next month. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you very, very soon.